What's up guys, it's James here, and in today's video we're going to talk about the best way to grow your Airbnb business to $10,000 a month in recurring monthly revenue. I get asked all the time, a bunch of different questions relating to how you should structure your business and how you should quickly get to $10,000 a month. That's a big, important number for a lot of people. It's a lot of people tend to have the number $10,000 a month in mind when they get started growing a business, and that's sort of the goal that people want to get to, at least for the first milestone. So understandably, a lot of people want to know what is the most effective and most efficient way to grow your business to that point. So that's what we're going to be talking about in more detail in today's video. Now, before I jump right into it, I just want to ask that before we get started, you go ahead and click that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. If you click to the like button, that just helps me out tremendously with YouTube's algorithm. And if you want to get notified when we post new videos, then just go ahead and click that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the channel. Also, down in the description down below, if you haven't already checked it out, there is a link to a free training where we walk through step by step how to get your business to 6 figures on Airbnb, managing other people's properties on Airbnb. So I highly recommend that you check out that training as well, where we're going to go into a lot more detail. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started talking about what is the most effective and efficient way to grow your Airbnb management business from absolute zero. I'm assuming that you're starting without any experience, without any background, not owning any properties, and get it to $10,000 a month. Well, to start off with, you want to make sure that you build with the end goal in mind. There's a lot of things that you would probably do differently in your business if you were just planning on growing to, let's say, 2 or 3 properties to provide an extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month in supplemental income versus if you're growing this business to $10,000 a month. So there's a lot of shortcuts that you might be able to take that wouldn't be very impactful on your business if your end goal is only to build it to, like I said, 2 or 3 properties. However, if your goal is to get the business to $10,000 a month, which in most cases is going to be about 10 to 13 properties, then you want to make sure you don't take any of those shortcuts, because although they will help you to get more quickly to the first $2,000 or $3,000 a month, it's going to drastically slow you down from getting to $10,000 a month. Now, to give you an example of one of the areas where that shortcut can be made, I was actually just talking with a student of mine not too long ago, earlier this week, and we talked about the idea of starting your business managing properties in different locations. So if you're only going to be managing 2 or 3 properties, then having your properties spread out in different areas, different locations, is really not a big deal. It's a pretty easy way to build the business. There's no real downside to having properties in different cities if you're only looking to grow to a couple of properties. As soon as you get to be, depending on the type of property, generally around the 5 to 10 property mark, you're going to have a lot of complications if your properties are in different areas. A couple examples of how those problems are going to crop up. You're going to have a challenging time integrating multiple different cleaning teams with the right sets of systems and keeping everything on track. It's much easier to only have to work with one single cleaning team. The same goes for all your maintenance people who might be going by to manage the maintenance at these properties. And then also you're going to have to understand the pricing schedules of all these different areas as well. When is the high season? When is the low season? When are events coming into town? So again, you can see pretty clearly how at 2 or 3 properties, it's not really that big of a deal. But if you start to grow to 10 or 11 or 12 properties, then you're creating a whole bunch of unnecessary inefficiency in your business because you didn't take the time to build it from the beginning so that it's actually well suited for the end goal. So rule number 1 when you're looking to get to $10,000 a month is make sure you're building with the end in mind and not trying to take any shortcuts that are going to hurt you long term. So the other really big piece that I like to remind people when they're trying to build to that $10,000 a month mark is that the first couple properties are going to be the hardest. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be hard. It just means that they're going to be more challenging to bring on than the other properties that you'll bring on later down the road. The first 1, 2, and 3 properties are going to require some legwork. So be ready for that. Understand that that's going to be part of the process. You're going to need to reach out to clients, set up appointments with them. And even before doing that, you're going to have to really hone in your niche and figure out exactly what your offer is and what your messaging is going to be that's going to resonate really strongly so those clients want to come on board and work with you. From there, things get a whole lot easier because you've already done a lot of that initial legwork. So don't trick yourself into thinking that just because it's challenging or taking you a little bit longer to bring on your first client or your second, that it's going to take just as long to bring on your 8th, your 9th, or your 10th. More often than not, once you get your business to 3 to 4 properties, you start to pretty consistently be bringing properties on through referrals. The nice thing there is that you're going to get every client, if you're doing your job well, every client's going to generally lead to another 1 to 3 referrals down the road. And those referrals will then lead to more referrals. And those referrals from those referrals will lead to even more referrals from your referrals from your referrals. It is really a never-ending cycle where the business sort of takes on a life of its own. It's kind of like a snowball. Getting that first snowball made, it really just takes a little bit longer than once you start rolling it, especially if you're at the top of a hill, you start rolling it down the hill, that thing gets absolutely humongous before you've really done anything, and it gets humongous a lot more quickly than if you're just kind of packing snow onto it as you go. I don't know if I really needed that analogy there, but I hope it was helpful to just get you really thinking about the momentum and the role that momentum plays in building your business. So that's a really big thing to remember as well, just to help you not get discouraged when you're building to that $10,000 a month mark. Now, the last thing that I highly recommend you focus on when you're building to $10,000 a month and you have that as your end goal is to really make sure that you're watching the bottom line in your business. And that comes into play in a couple different arenas. Cleaning fees are one area where I've seen people, and I myself have even made this mistake when I was first starting out, where you can accidentally be losing money. For example, when I first started, I actually just set my cleaning fees before I got my cleaners to quote. I believed that I should just get my property up and listed as quickly as possible, which I've soon figured out was the absolute worst strategy to take. But in doing that, I set my cleaning fees too low and I was actually losing money on some of my cleanings. Now, because I was making enough money in management fees to mask that, I didn't catch it for a little while. I wasn't watching my bottom line. I wasn't really detailed going into my numbers and figuring out exactly where the business stood. And so I was losing money needlessly. The other thing is just little small things that would add up that I wasn't charging clients for, like having a plumber go by or having the gopher go by, or different little bits of things that, as per our agreement with property owners, we were able to charge them extra for. And at 1 or 2 properties, not charging clients for that feels good. You get to give back to your clients and give that extra little bit of service to them. And it really doesn't make a big difference because it's only 1 or 2 properties. But then once you start to grow to 8 or 9 or 10 properties, then suddenly those things start to add up. And it's especially painful if you've already set a precedent with your clients that you're not going to be charging them additional fees for those little small things. Now they're going to be expecting that. They're going to be expecting not to get charged. And so it becomes really challenging to actually start charging them. And it's a lot easier to just do it from the beginning, just like it states in your agreement. So you want to make sure that you really watch that bottom line, because at the end of the day, getting to $10,000 a month is going to require you to put in the work to make sure your margins are actually strong. It's really easy to do that with 10 properties if you do things properly. But if you don't watch your bottom line, you're not watching your margins, then it's going to take you a lot more properties and a lot more work just to get to the exact same net income goal. So those are my top recommendations for the things that you absolutely need to do and you absolutely need to be mindful of when building your business to $10,000 a month. That is going to be the most efficient way to do it, is by focusing on building your business for how you want to be long-term, rather than focusing on just getting that next client and getting it built to 3 properties really effectively. Because a lot of the strategies that you deploy when you're trying to get to your first 1, 2, or 3 properties are not the same strategy you're going to need to get to 10 or more properties under management. I hope this has been really helpful for you. If you thought it was helpful, just give me a like, just hit that like button. Leave me a comment if you have questions about this, or if you want me to talk about anything else or answer any other questions in a future video. And as always, there's a link down in the description down below to a free training that walks you through step by step by step, shows you all of our systems, all of our strategies for exactly how to build this business to a full-time income managing other people's properties on Airbnb. We've now worked with hundreds of students all over the world, teaching them how to build this business and get it to 6 figures and get it to a full-time income. So if you want to be one of those students, if you want to learn from us and you want to see exactly how you can build this business for yourself, then just click the link down in the description below, check out that free training, and I wish you all the best. We'll talk again soon.